Support WrestleTalk!
Let's get it started! Let's get it started in here. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here are this week's 10 wrestling news stories you might have missed. Number 1, Ric Flair shoots on Becky Lynch. Again! What is going on with Ric Flair? Following that Dark Side of the Ring episode, he seems to have been a little more unhinged than normal, and the target of his ire is centered on Becky Lynch, whether it's a title exchange segment with his daughter Charlotte Flair, Becky calling herself the man, or like in this case, Becky having the audacity to cut a promo on Raw. You can be sure that Flair Sr. has something to say about it. The promo segment between Lynch and Ronda Rousey following the Royal Rumble wasn't exactly great, but the consensus is that out of the two of them, Lynch wasn't the issue, but according to Rick, she absolutely was, as he said in his Woo Nation podcast. Anyone who's stupid enough to call her Ronnie and make a joke of her presence, what she brings to the company, is out of her mind, aka what is her name now? Big Time Bex. Hey Ronnie, welcome back. That's exciting. That's really exciting. How about thank you Ronda for showing up because I'm not the man anymore. I'm generic. Who am I? Big Time Bex, the last kicker? I don't know. You okay, Rick? Because that's actually a much worse promo. Number 2, Ric Flair shoots on Sami Zayn. Oh, what's Sami done? Was that one time he and Becky teamed together in the Mixed Match Challenge? Is that why you don't like him? Once again, taking to that podcast of his, Flair weighed in on how it's difficult to apparently make conversation with Sami backstage. For me personally, when I got to make small talk to get along with Sami Zayn, that's all I've got to say. When I got to walk through to make small talk with Kevin Owens, who's 10 times the performer and a great guy who understands and respects who I am, and Sami Zayn kind of easing around in the hallway and I got to make small talk to connect with him, he's done in my book. Sure, Rick, whatever you say, you big mad ass. Number 3, RVD offered Royal Rumble return. The men's Royal Rumble match this year was a bit pants, wasn't it? Not many surprises, no stories coming out of it aside from the one set up earlier in the show with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and the action was just a bit One of the surprises we could have actually seen, though, was Rob Van Dam, who hasn't been seen in WWE since his brief run from 2013 to 2014. In an interview with Sportskeeda, RVD said, "I let the WWE know that I was available if they needed me for the Royal Rumble. I was on standby with a brand new outfit, feeling great, in a great condition. In the end, they did not call me, but it could happen anytime. I really do not have any plans for it, but I would consider any situation from any company. I would definitely consider it. If it's right, it's right." Couldn't make room for RVD, though, could you, WWE? Need to make sure you got those spots for Madcap Moss. Yeah, checks out. Number 4, WWE couldn't say Impact Wrestling. One of the highlights of the Women's Royal Rumble match, though, was Mickie James. James was the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Women's Champion at the time of the Rumble and entered the match with the belt in tow. A lot of people were quite stunned by this sudden openness by WWE to acknowledge a company they've actively tried to keep hidden on their programming since its inception. But of course, it being WWE, there were several caveats to the Mickie James situation. According to Will Washington of Fightful's Grapsody podcast, under absolutely no circumstances was anyone allowed to call it Impact Wrestling. You had to call it Impact, no wrestling. WWE doesn't do wrestling, you see, so calling another company Impact Wrestling just won't fly. The company was also not allowed to be tagged on social media, and the commentators were not allowed to use the terms knockouts or world when referencing her championship, which would explain why the name bar that popped up when she entered the Rumble named her the Impact Women's Championship. Sounds like a very reasonable deal and in no way petty and weird. Number 5, Pat McAfee gets yelled at on commentary. Sticking with the theme of WWE commentary, many people consider Pat McAfee to be one of the lone highlights of SmackDown, with his excitable personality and his insistence on making Michael Cole's life miserable when Shinsuke Nakamura's around. When he first debuted on commentary, many considered him a breath of fresh air, as it seemed like he was allowed to say more than the average Michael Cole clone. A Michael Cole clone. But Pat has recently revealed there's a certain thing he does that always gets him yelled at from backstage. Seth Rollins was the most recent guest on Pat McAfee's show, and Pat referred to him as a future Hall of Famer, which apparently is a big no-no. I actually get yelled at every time I say future Hall of Famer for this person. They're like, it's not always Vince McMahon, it's somebody that drops in. We don't know if that's true or not. It's an amazing time. I tried to sneak that in at least once a show to see how many Hall of Famers I could put in there. Seth then joked that Pat should refer to Shanky as a future Hall of Famer, and that's ridiculous. It should be Veer. Number 6, new NXT camera tricks. NXT 2.0 sure has a lot of gimmicks, doesn't it? On this week's episode, the daddy's girl faced a sleepy woman to try and make her give back the credit card that the sleepy woman stole last week, and then went on a shopping spree with it until it got cancelled, which then begs the question, why do you want the card back? You just cancelled it, and why didn't you cancel it right away? way, also spending money off someone else's credit cards like massively illegal. NXT sure is a show, huh? Anyway, one of the things some people might have noticed from this week's episode is some new camera trickery. And when I say trickery, I mean bollocks. They got a new shaky cam and doesn't look very good. NXT has tried a new tactic this week of having a camera person in the ring with the wrestlers. That sounds, well, first of all, it sounds a bit dangerous. Like, luckily nothing went wrong with this episode. With big equipment like those cameras, with a camera person inside the ring, it seems like it'll only be a matter of time before an accident happens. Also, the ring is bouncy as shit. It's a bad idea, that. And yes, WCW fans, it was a bad idea when the ref cam did it as well. Number 7, NXT 2.0's viewership. Much like Raw from this week, NXT was bumped to Sci-Fi due to the coverage of the Winter Olympics, and Raw drew its second lowest viewership of all time because of this channel change. NXT didn't fare much better either. This week's episode drew an average of just 400,000 viewers, and only 97,000 of those being in the all-important 18 to 49 demographic. This is way down their usual week-to-week numbers, and even down from the last time NXT was on Sci-Fi last summer, when they drew 520,000 viewers for those episodes. Maybe they can turn it around though, when the daddy's girl faces a sleepy woman again, or maybe the girl with voices in her head that talks to will face the sleepy woman instead, and maybe the guy who doesn't know how to talk to women will get involved. And oh goodness. Number 8, details on Jeff Hardy turning down the Hall of Fame. Late last year, Jeff Hardy was released from WWE following erratic behavior at a house show. Many people feared this was a resurgence of his demons from the past, but according to his brother Matt, he insisted on getting WWE's drug test results through, as he knew they would be clean, and they were. The reports from the time indicate that Jeff had been offered a place in the WWE Hall of Fame, but had rejected that offer. More details have come to light about that, courtesy of Matt Hardy once again. As he said on a Twitch stream, Jeff asked him, he said, "So you want to induct me into the Hall of Fame?" He said, "Well, let me ask you, I know you guys spoke with AEW, is this going to be the Hardy Boys? Is this myself and my brother Matt?" And they go, "Oh, no, it can't be Matt. He's under contract to AEW. It would just be you." And Jeff just said, "Well, that's a hard no." He stood up for the team of the Hardy Boys, and he came back to them with, "That's a hard no," for a response. Sticking by his brother, you love to see it. Hardy Boys to AEW confirmed. Number 9, WWE have already decided Shane McMahon's replacement. Shane McMahon was reportedly let go from WWE following his erratic behavior behind the scenes at the Royal Rumble. But then there were reports saying he wasn't actually gone, as he had meetings to discuss WWE partnerships, so he's still around, I guess, mostly because, you know, all those Succession memes make the company look bad. But regardless, he is not having a WrestleMania match, that's for sure, as he was taken out of the Elimination Chamber and replaced with Austin Theory. According to WrestleVotes on Twitter, the entire WrestleMania card was still in flux, with loads of decisions still needing to be made, but one of those decisions has been made. According to Ringside News, the replacement for Shane McMahon at WrestleMania has already been decided and was chosen almost immediately after Shane was let go, I guess, but not also let go, I guess, from the company. Shane was reportedly going to be facing Seth Rollins at the show of shows, so it remains to be seen who Seth will be facing when Mania comes around. WWE were needing to find a big marquee name to replace Shane, so maybe Seth will be facing Bad Bunny instead. Come to think of it, that might actually happen. Number 10, WWE exploring the Metaverse. If you've not heard about the Metaverse, it looks proper shit, like a version of every futuristic sci-fi movie ever, where you can like walk around and do stuff, pretend you're doing your shopping by walking around and picking up virtual things instead of, I know, scrolling on your phone and not doing that. Anyway, as WWE is always on the pulse of new trends, they were recently asked in their quarterly investors call about it, and Stephanie McMahon responded, "Yes, we are absolutely exploring the Metaverse as an opportunity for WWE, especially as the theory unfolds that that's really where more and more people are going to go to connect and socialize." Is it though? Going by WWE's track record with AR and virtual spaces, just look at their entrance graphics and Tout as a prime example, I'm sure the WWE Metaverse will be top notch. Normally we end this list with a positive, more light-hearted story, but this was just funny. Point and laugh at the stupid company doing stupid company things. And that's our list. What's been your favorite piece of wrestling news from this week? Make sure you like and subscribe to WrestleTalk for more up-to-the-minute breaking news. Make WrestleTalk.com your homepage, and never forget to jam that jam.